Hello to you all, this is NUSensei, and today we have a viewer question. This one is from Frank, and Frank writes, "Hello NUSensei, I really enjoy your videos. I was wondering if you can make a video of what is in your archery case and what you take to a competition. Thanks again, and keep up the good work." Why, thank you. This is a very good request, and I'll take this from both a personal point of view of what I myself carry in my case, as well as things you should generally bring to a competition. Bring a pen. No, I'm serious. While you usually get pens in your scoring package, everybody on the target should have a pen. You need people to score, you need people to double score, and you need people to mark the target. So if you only have one pen between 4 people, that can really slow down the scoring process. So bring a pen. Now what I carry in my bow case is pretty ordinary stuff. I've got my bow, limbs, riser, bowstring, quiver, arrows, stabilizers, bow stand, sight, chest guard, arm guard, and there are a few things that I carry in my quiver itself. So my bow square, an arrow puller, finger tab, finger sling, and bowstring wax. A screwdriver set, hex wrench set, target pins, scissors or pocket knife, pliers, hot melt glue, and lighter. Hang on, why do you need hot melt and a lighter? Now, I do most of my repair work at home, but if I'm at a competition, I want to be sure that I can repair my arrows in the field if I lose points. I also like carrying spare thread. I've got a spool of leftover serving thread and some thicker sewing thread. The reason is, I use these threads for my knocking points, and if my knocking points come loose or need to be replaced, I can do it right away. Some people carry stretching bands. These are great warm-up tools, and people like using them in between ends to keep the muscles warmed up, the feeling right, the alignment correct, so this is a pretty good idea to bring along. I do carry a microfiber towel. This one came with my bow. I don't use this for myself, I use it for my bow obviously. In wet weather, or even in really hot weather when you're really sweaty, sometimes the bow grip can be very slippery. So I like to bring the towel with me in my quiver just to dry it off between shots. I do have these Hoyt arm warmer sleeves, which I reviewed a while ago. What I do normally wear compression wear or thermal underwear. Having extra sleeves that I can put on and take off, especially in really cold, windy weather, is nice, so I carry these in my bag. A hat. Now, bucket hats are the preferable choice for most archers. The reason being is that the soft peak allows you to bend it as you need to, and it won't interfere with the string. There are other things I could bring in my case as well, like spare points and nocks, extra target faces, and so on. But it really depends on whether you want to carry it with you, leave it at home, or whether you're shooting in a club that has spare parts already. Now, if you're preparing for a competition, there probably are a few things you should pay extra attention to and make sure you bring. Probably the most important thing to remember is having enough arrows. Now, in most target competitions, you'll be shooting 6 arrows at a time. I've got 7 fletched arrows. This actually isn't enough to be safely prepared for a competition. Now, I do have 2 extra bare shafts. These I use for tuning. I can fletch them if I need more arrows, but I actually find 7 arrows to be a little skinny. The reason is, you will be losing arrows. You might break an arrow, you might lose an arrow, you might lose a point, and unless you have spares, or you can do repairs in the field right away, then you either have to call an equipment failure and then catch up in the end, or you might be an arrow down every single end. So make sure you have sufficient arrows to cover you in case you go through extra arrows. Speaking of spares, I also carry spare tabs. These I carry in my quiver or my archery case. These are older ones which I've used before and I no longer actively use, but I keep them around just in case. Not many things go wrong with tabs, but you might find the leather will rip or a screw falls out and you have to use something else. So having a spare tab doesn't hurt. It's also a good idea to bring a spare string. A lot of competitive shooters will have 2 or 3 strings which they use regularly. The same brace height, same twist, same knock point, same tune. While strings are very durable, it's nice to have an extra one that's already been used just in case something happens. If you watch the professional archers at world events, some of them carry an entire second bow. Now, I'm assuming you're not sponsored, so you don't need to spend thousands on 2 identical bows. But carrying spare parts isn't a bad idea. Hydration is a very good idea. You are going to be shooting for hours, so make sure that you have plenty of fluids with you. If you're shooting long distance events, you may want to bring a scope. These are allowed. You can put them on a tripod on the shooting line itself, assuming there's enough space. Otherwise, most will put them behind the line. They're really useful because at long distance, you cannot see where your arrow lands. So this is vital if you want to adjust per shot. This is very important. You must know your sight settings. Most people will carry it in a notepad or on their phone. Other people might stick a giant piece of paper somewhere near their bag just to remind them what the sight settings are. It's very important because you only get a couple sighting ends at the longest distance. Every other distance assumes you know your sight settings. So if you don't know your sight settings, you've got to make sure you know what they are. And write them down. And that's more or less what I carry with me to archery competitions. There probably are a few more things which I've left out, and my archery case is a little messy right now. But anyway, I hope that answers your question, Frank. And for everybody else, I hope you found this helpful. This is NUSensei. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.